Hey guys, another Zapp Comic Video Podcast. You know, we're brought to you by Zapp Comics, of course, and powered by Audio Boom. You can find us on YouTube and iTunes. I got a different cast of characters here this week. You know, we got the old faithful, Rusty, Nick, and David, of course, from Zapp Comics. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Great. Glad to be here with these boneheads.
And one of my from Evolution of Fanboy days, Tom Juba's back. Tom, how you doing, bud?
I'm pretty good, yeah. Feels good.
You're all grown up now. Last time I did a podcast with you were still a kid. I think you were still in school.
Oh, yeah. I was still, growing hair under my armpits, all around, just...
Really, I think you were still in school, I think.
Oh, no, totally, yeah. I was
still in school.
No,
but he was still in, like...
Oh, no, yeah, I was still dealing with the angst, I was like, comic books, and what about girls? And, yeah, but now...
You weren't even driving yet, I don't think?
Girls?
What about girls? And that's what we're talking about today, folks. What about girls?
So, and I apologize for Tom. It's just going to get worse as it goes on, so just be prepared. If you don't know, listen to some of the old Evolution of Fanboy podcast, you'll hear
Yeah,
Tom.
You'll know Tom is just one big boner. That's...
Yes, he is. All right, guys, I know you guys are all huge fans of Rick Remender. Rightfully so. His books are machines when they come out, and I know it was a big deal when he left Marvel, because he was there for, I think, 8 years or so.
It's a good run.
Yeah, and obviously he's pursuing his own, creator own stuff, which he should. Uncanny X-Force is what really put him on the map as far as getting the respect he deserved. I know you guys are all big fans of Black Science.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Deadly Class.
Yes, I know you're a big Deadly Class fan, Nick. But Black Science, I mean, obviously Saga rules the world, right behind Walking Dead. But in this store, I'm sure a lot of places, Black Science sells like right under Saga sales. So obviously it's not just a handful of people that are into him. And he obviously is so big that he was able to leave Marvel and do his own thing.
And even in Marvel, run a full big crossover event.
Oh, yeah.
Those have been reserved for certain writers for so long. They had all the Bendis and Hickman, but it just shows how his talent was, now they're really, he means a lot to the industry.
What is different from, what makes him different from other writers?
I just think there's just so much heart in his work, and I don't think he wastes characters. Like, one thing I always say is, Deadpool, when I first started working here, one of my favorite characters, but the more I read it, the more he seemed more like a joke than anything else, and it didn't really have the heart. It was more just there for laughs. But when I tell people what's a good Deadpool book, I always pick Uncanny X-Force, because Deadpool, instead of just a joke, obviously he makes jokes, he just has so much heart. You really see him as a character. It's like really full fleshed out, and because of that, it's a really great book. It's really just phenomenal. So that's for me.
Nick, why are you in love with Deadly Class so much?
I like Deadly Class a lot because the undertone, after you get past the fact that it's an assassin school for kids and stuff, all the emotion and the feelings and the dynamic of the characters together is very real, and it's kind of like how people really feel about relationships with friends and family and how you feel growing up. So there's a lot of realness under it.
What's going on with girls?
Right? What's going on with girls? That's a big part in that book.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just a lot of...
Kissing.
No. There's a lot of real emotion and relationship stuff under the magicalness of the story.
And I think it's kind of both of those. I always said Remender is... I thought of one of the last Marvel writers with balls. Like, his stories are just... that he is able to take these characters that have existed for so long and may be seen as just a joke like Deadpool, and give them character, relate them to you and the universe at the same time, and unlike any other writer, just kind of, I hate to say like pull a Kirkman, where Kirkman had to build his own universe and nobody's safe, anyone can leave at any point, he could do anything, like he can tear your heart out. Like Remender has this, it gets real moment in every book that pulls you in, to the point where now with his own characters, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's the main character, where the story's going to go, because he can pull you anywhere. Because he just has this way of writing characters to make you care about everybody and take them away and just kind of play with your emotion. So in a book like Uncanny X-Force, you don't know who's going to be there. You don't know who's going to leave, who's going to die. And that's, for Marvel, pretty big. Even if it's something they like to do Elseworlds or reset his books, or it's an alternate universe or stuff, and I know that annoys people, but it allows him truly to write the best that he can. I mean, what better than a story with like all these characters that we see over and over again? Once the person's done writing them, they always end up at the same spot anyway. So why not take us on like a journey? And that's why I think Black Science is so cool, because it lets him do everything on his own. But with Marvel, I mean, Wolverine is Wolverine always. Like Deadpool is always going to be Deadpool.
Yeah, what's a property, and they kind of have to, unfortunately. It's a good point. And a bad point. I know he doesn't get. I'm saying like a lot of times with these companies, they're kind of handcuffed. They can only do so much with a character because they can't change it because licensing and movies coming out or.
Which I guess has to be a big reason why he left and got tired of it.
Well, I'm sure too, but because you can do your stuff on your own.
But I actually think, I mean, Kirkman is able to have these like really dramatic moments in Walking Dead because they're all his characters. He can do whatever he wants. But Remender, when you think about Uncanny X-Force, the first 4 issues I think are some of the best 4 issues, like in comics. Like Apocalypse Solution, you're taking all these characters we already know, so we already set the stage. We got it. You get Apocalypse, who we already know, most evil guy in X-Men, and then you set him as a kid, and you ask that very old question: if you saw Hitler as a baby, would you kill him? And then, because you know all these characters, it's a very dramatic moment where it's like, oh, well, Deadpool would kill him. But then Deadpool doesn't kill him. And that's like, oh crap, Deadpool's not the bad... Like, Deadpool has heart. There it is. And Wolverine, like, the really ferocious guy, doesn't kill him. And in the end, spoiler alert, 5 seconds, Phantom X kills him. This, like, kind of random guy that just seems like, not like flamboyant, but he just seems not like... kind of like soft-spoken and nice and kind, and then he kills him, and the character you didn't know, now you only know kind of one thing about him, and you're going to start to dig a little bit. Because unless you read New X-Men, Grant Morrison's run, Phantom X, even if you read that, he's a very strange character. His mutant ability is very strange. It's all... But...
Well, what's his ability?
Isn't it just like the Wanted movie?
He's like good with gut, but it's like he has his own, like... computer world that he can control with his. It's very like.
So what happens? His nervous system is actually separate from him.
Okay.
In a way, he has his own like. It's like a weird psychic ability, and it can become like a ship that they fly in, and like he has this other world that he builds. It's really strange, but I feel it's what is it called? Like.
It's a Morrison character, though, right?
Yeah, like Morrison.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
When he was making some Green Lanterns, one that he made was a sentient math equation. Which makes sense, because, like, why would every alien be humanoid or, like, an animal? Sometimes it would just be sentient intelligence, like a sentient smallpox virus, but...
Sometimes it'll just be a big addition sign.
Yeah, right?
Dude, if a person's math, that's my least favorite person.
Yeah.
I just picked it. That's fine. If it was a baby, I'd shoot it in the face. If it's like, I'm math, bang.
But if we were, like, inviting all the Green Lanterns to a party, still invite math equation before Guy Gardner, I'm just doing that first.
Oh, Ginger with a bowl cut. Sounds like a party.
I mean, think about though. You put yourself.
Seems like a boner to me.
If you put yourself in those predicaments, even if you know that kid or child is going to be evil, you can't just kill a kid. I mean, it's not easy. So, like you said, it makes.
Well, they're not that strong, so it's probably pretty easy.
No, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
and we've gotten there.
I mean, Dave being the heartless one here. Like Deadpool, it's an easy fix. He's going to do it, but it's like you can't. How do you do that? And what was that story? You read it. I think it was a short story with when they went back and killed Hitler.
Oh, that was...
Was it Lemire?
That was Time Warp. No,
it was a Vertigo book, right?
There was Vertigo book. Vertigo every once in a while puts on an anthology of short stories, which I always recommend people pick up. Just like Island Number 2, which is coming out, or just came out a couple weeks ago. Short stories in comics are the best things in comics, in my mind. And their anthologies don't sell that well because it's not a continuing story. But Time Warp... It wasn't by Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire drew one with Scott Snyder about...
Who was the one who did the Hitler one? You remember?
It was actually like 2 kind of unknown writers.
But it was cool. I remember you showing it to me, like, read this.
Yeah, it was
of course, it's only 5 pages, so I read it, but...
Completely.
It was cool. So, but anyways, it's hard to, like, you envision, like, these people, how evil they are, they were normal kids, for most part. So you can't just walk up and kill a kid, even if you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like little kids, I mean, the kid, you're 5 years old, you're 6 years old, you're not Hitler yet.
No, you're just a kid.
You're just little Addie.
Yeah.
Little Adolf. I mean, remember Star Wars Episode 1? He wanted to race with his friends.
Yeah.
Come on, you don't want to blow up no planets.
Not yet.
Man.
Wizard.
Phantom
It all goes back to Sebulba.
It does.
It always does.
That's what he thinks of everything.
No, but that's why I think like Remender worked very well at Marvel, because he would be able to take these characters and really make this real scenario that did involve killing them. You know, a lot. The easiest writing solution is like, oh, how do I make something dramatic? Someone dies, and obviously Apocalypse died, but like, no, like with the main set of characters, it was just like all about choices, all about this action, and they did this action, and then from there, everything that kind of came out of that was really interesting because it started from this like really dramatic moment. So.
Yeah, and he took on Uncanny Avengers, which very quietly was the #1 selling Avenger book, even over Avengers, and it was his book, and it was like kind of went unnoticed. But if you look at the numbers, it outsold all the other ones, and because they followed him there.
And it was a lot of the same characters. It was really a continuation of what he was writing. And even if they undo like everything that Remender has done, I mean, especially now with Secret Wars, with all these soft reboots, so many of his stories have already been rebooted. I mean, he brought back Nightcrawler in his story, which is a whole different thing. He has a way of creating these stories and creating this lore within it, keeping it in the 616 universe, but making it his own and making it matter, even if at the last page is like they all wake up and they're like, oh, it was a dream. Like, it doesn't matter. And I think that's why he's so good, to the point where now things will matter. It's his characters, that's cool, but for what he did in Marvel, I mean, can you think of anyone else who's really done that? When not in like an Elseworld kind of thing.
No, it's very consistent because there's other writers that have ups and downs, but I never heard anything bad about Remender ever. Nobody ever bashes him. Nobody ever says anything. Oh, this is okay. People love everything he's done.
No, it was just like he was just writing stories that mattered to you, and that's it's a hard thing to do, and I really think he was getting at that kind of indecipherable spark, because he was writing really good stories. Everyone's like, oh, there's action, there's this, there's that, but then right underneath it, there's just something about Remender that, I don't know, just kind of clicks. And with Deadly Class, I think we move a little towards that now. If you read the foreword to that book, he's just talking about how hard high school was for him and how this like relates to him. And just, do you remember the foreword at all?
Yeah, he goes a lot into like how high school is a really bad time for kids, like emotionally, physically, everything going on, and then how he had a hard time. And you can kind of feel that throughout the main character in Deadly Class, that there's a lot of real like emotion and real like human to everybody there, that it's all things that people think about, relationships with friends, how you feel, like your social status in high school. And in Deadly Class, it's just blown up because it's a school full of assassins.
It's like 1987, right? Like
yeah, it starts in
I think it's 87.
87, and then it goes, in the second book, it's 88, I believe. Like, time actually passes. Which is another really nice thing about Remender books, is like, time passes in his books. It's not like Batman, where he's been 28 for like 70, 80 years. It just doesn't make sense. Like, there's always a timelines and a lineage to the character, and there's growth, and there's change. That's another great thing about him, is any book, any character he writes, no one's ever the same from the first book to the last issue that came out. There's always progression, either it's forward or backwards, in like a character's psyche or like emotion or their goals. It's all very thought out. It's not like, again, not to use Batman as a thing, but or Superman. Like, it's just the same beginning to end. I'm Superman, I'm an alien, I like Earth, the end. That's not how his characters work. There's always something changing, there's always something evolving.
Well, what about, like, think about his Captain America during Marvel Now. I mean, that was one that kind of went under the radar, where he basically gets stuck in a whole universe created by, I think, what was it, Arnim Zola?
Yeah.
And he, like, has, like, a clone of him, like a son, that he raises as his own, and he's there for years, and they're surviving, and they think they'll never get back, and, like, I think, like, a decade or so, the kid's, like, a teenager, and it all goes by, and, like, later in other books, after it happens, like, his son gets, like, they don't know what happens, he gets shot, and, like, everyone dies, and they're like, we're here to rescue you. And they're like, see, we just got you back. It's been like 5 minutes. And he's like, I lived this entire thing. And it's like messed him up.
I'm sure it did.
And they like bring it up in other books. Like, he could I don't know. It's just Remender.
I think that's what he's doing the Hail Hydra for Secret Wars, which is a
which
continuation
is that
of
character.
which is like his kid all grown up, still in that world.
Which they could bring him back because the Falcon Cap
That's what
story?
Hail Hydra's about?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
I think
picking
so.
that. I've been like really consider. It looks, the cover's awesome. It looks really, I'm buying that today. Cool.
Did you read Captain America, the Falcon Cap?
No, I mean, this.
So the
this
first
all
one was like,
sounds really
art's
interesting.
cool,
I'm just-
Falcon, that's cool, everything's great. And then he's with Nomad, which is his son. He came back, but he's a little bit more grown up, alternate universe stuff, whatever. And he's just like, yeah, I'll be your Bucky, everything's great. And I'm like, this kid's annoying. And then, like, the second book, he's like, I'm there, oh no, I'm captured by Baron Zemo, everything will be great. And I'm like, you're kind of annoying. And then at the end, he just shoots him in the face. Baron Zemo's just like, surprise, send my regards to Captain America, and blows the kid's face off.
Nice.
And then I was just like, oh my god, I miss him so much. Like, I didn't know I miss him so much. I was just like, your outfit's stupid and I hate you. And then when his face gets blown off, I'm just like, oh my god, I felt stuff. And I didn't even know I did.
No, he played.
Now, how did you feel? Did you feel the same way when Carl got shot in the face in Walking Dead?
No, I was pumped.
Okay, good, thank you.
And he's still around.
I don't know, did
I
he
know.
get shot? I think he got shot in the face or he was hanging upside down. I think he either shot him in the face or slit his throat.
Wait, there was another. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Carl. I'm like, Carl got shot in the face twice. I'm like,
No, I was just saying, no,
He
he
just
should
had
have got
two
shot in
big
the
gaps
face. I
in
mean, he
his
got
face.
shot, he should have been dead, but he's still. I just hate Carl so much, I had to bring him up, so I'm sorry.
the
He sucks.
Brian K. Vaughan once talked about how he doesn't feel good writing for Marvel or DC just because it never has a real ending. Just because, like you're saying, Superman at the end of the day has to be Superman. You know, like, it has to be this like mold so the next guy who writes can also have that mold. So Remender, he plays the game really well. Like, you know, he finds a way. Like that Captain America story sounds awesome. That's so smart of just this 15-year event that happens within 5 minutes because, yeah, within all the other comics that it has to connect to, 5 minutes can only really happen because in those 5 minutes, a billion things happen that cause Secret Wars to happen, and then we need the event where Captain America's there. But yeah, he plays the game. I'm
So
digging it.
why are you guys so drawn to black science? Why does black science stand above everything else? Why is it so like? Are you guys are all like cheerleaders for this book? You guys love this book, and rightfully so because there's people lined up behind you. But why is black science? I mean, Scalera's art is amazing, but as far as that, why is this book up above everything else?
Well, for me, when I first started working here, I would say like a year into working, Ruben asked me if I was to recommend one hard science book, what would it be? Like hard sci-fi. And I looked at the wall, and this was really for the Image Boom. I think Saga had maybe just come out or was about to come out. And there was no book that was hard science. It was all, it was pretty much all just a couple hard, but mostly superheroes. And then this big Image Boom happened, and now we have sci-fi. We have these kind of weird westerns that are happening. We have pirate books when you look at Five Ghosts sometimes. But, yeah, black science finally brought sci-fi back.
It has that old
EC comic.
EC comic feel to it. You know, it's very scratchy art, and it's you know, there's a lot in the background of the panels. It just
Colors.
The colors. You know, like the wood covers them back in the the golden age. You know, it's beautiful, and it's kind of pays homage to that. And it's I'm drawn by the art. I'm an art guy, but I read the first trade. I loved it. I didn't get a chance to read the second trade yet, but I know, Nick, you run in here when the book comes out.
Yeah.
Why?
Cardio. You gotta
Cardio.
get your heart up.
A lot about getting my steps in. I just I love Rick Remender as a writer, and Matteo Scalera's art might be the best art in comics right now, by my opinion. So both of them being together, it just makes a very fluid book, and it's just a fun story because who doesn't love traveling through the multiverses of time and space and running into other versions of you that want to steal your kids or want you dead?
Probably them. They probably
don't like it, but I like reading about it.
Probably Liam Neeson, because anytime his kids get taken, it's an adventure.
Yeah. He's got a certain set of skills.
He does.
Taken by myself.
Especially when it comes to like the EC comic stuff, like the old like Magnus, Robot Fighter, all that old sci-fi.
You know what? Your generation's appreciating that.
Yeah.
I noticed that. My generation skipped it. We had the Valiant stuff came up with Magnus, and it was neat, but it wasn't like anything like that. I noticed your crowd, your age is really, really drawn to that stuff, and I love it because it's all coming back. You can see it in the art style. They're doing a lot of, throwback covers in a lot of the different companies. I know, like, you got like Haunted Horror coming out. All this stuff like that. All that stuff is coming back, and I love it. I know you're a big fan of this.
I am too, because the thing that was fun about all these stories is that with every issue, you get a different world. Like it's kind of like a TV show, where this episode they're going to be on, I don't know, like this alien world. Next one they're going to be a place, oh no, it's the Old West. The next place they go here. So especially early on in the book, they're just jumping from, I guess, like dimension to dimension, world to world, and you don't know what they're going to end up in next. And you don't know if it's going to be crazy frog Mayans or just like a nice little like hotel that they end up at that one point.
What a perfect first world to do,
right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the Ghost Apes?
Yes.
I mean, one of the reasons that I love this book
The Ghost Apes, oh yeah,
is that oh yeah, there it is. Is like Birthright that I just picked up a couple weeks ago. It's a good book. It's a good book by Image, and I would say for one of their first few books for the team, really impressive that they were able to come up with this. But how they brought out information to the reader, it'd be like within one comic, you'd get one twist, which if you lived in that world for a while, that'd be really interesting. And then you get another twist 2 pages later that changes the world again, but I didn't get to live in the world you just twisted, So it didn't even matter that twist. But this book, you start out on like a typical alien world that's also like really cool and really strange, and then as you go on, you get even weirder somehow. But not in the weird of like, now the aliens are weirder. Now it's like, oh, well, now the characters are coming back in different universes. But they're really giving the information at the perfect time where you've already accepted that the universe could do this. And like an onion, I mean, that's the core metaphor in Black Science. Like an onion, the more they peel away, the more you're getting to the core. It's like, oh, well, you already understood that the overlying layer exists. It makes sense that the layer under it could. So he's really good at doing it.
It's a dark book too. Like it's not a
happy book.
It's like a dark version of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
exactly.
It's very dark.
A really good way to look at it too is it's kind of like a better version of Lost in Space. That's how I describe it to people.
It's a non-friendly, non-Brady Bunchy.
Yeah, because
Lost in
like
Space.
a scientist takes his family to what should be, hey, I worked on this really cool thing, guys. Come with me. Let's experience together. And everything goes wrong at once. And another big thing, like you guys were saying before, how Robert Kirkman owns his characters so he can do whatever they want with them. No character in that book is ever safe. Like, no matter any time I'm reading a book, the main character could die, his kids could die, anybody could die at any point, and I think that's a lot of fun that you don't know what's going to happen.
I don't think we've gone through like the plot even.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like the whole book, it's about a scientist, strained marriage. His partner/mistress and him have been working on this device to jump dimensions. He brings his kids and his investors in to take a look at it. They all get jumped to another dimension. So even though we're going across these different worlds, and like you were saying, they paint these like beautiful pictures in the background, and it's not like a new world is a new twist, because the story isn't about the different worlds they're going to. The story is about the family and them uncovering why the machine is acting wrong, because somebody there with them may have something to do with that. So it's the mystery of why this happened, but more importantly, how to get his family back home after he has already done enough to them, to the point where he's broken his family apart by making this device. Now this device is literally torn his family.
Yeah, and it's like
apart.
It's like
literally
almost every relationship he has is getting ruined
by his work.
Like he takes the mentor, his mentee with him, which has helped him on the device, and that relationship gets ruined. Everything, each issue, you get deeper and deeper into why everyone feels a certain way towards each other. Like there's flashbacks to the past. I just love the book.
Oh, it's a great. It was a fun read. I really enjoyed it. I just didn't have time to read the second one, but
you gotta find that time.
I would love to go back to the thing you said earlier about how it's just a darker Fantastic Four.
Listen, I'm a huge FF guy. I love the FF, but I love it because of the family aspect of it. It's corny. It's because I grew up on it. I love it, but I understand why it doesn't work today. So, this is like pretty much like a real version of the FF, because if this would happen, you wouldn't have this happy family. Like you said, you'd have, when you work, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with someone else, you're away from your family, things get strained, you lose touch with it, like I said, unfortunately he cheats on his wife and all this other stuff happened, and his kids obviously resent him for it, and it's like the opposite of FF.
No, I mean, like, obviously I love this story, and it's cool that it's going to have an ending, but, like, I wouldn't mind if Remender had stuck with Marvel, this would be an amazing Fantastic Four story.
Oh, it'd be great.
Like, if Namor was there, imagine, like, stuck in this multiverse where you have to, like, keep going back and forth, just Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, and Namor, all right there. That's just conflict. And that's kind of the conflict that they're going with here. I don't know, it's really rich. And, Fantastic Four, as much as, like, it's not as popular today, there's still some writers like Matt Fraction and FF kind of got to it a little bit. But it's just like a really good family drama. It's a family drama in this kind of hard sci-fi, but also a little campy, Like, even Black Science gets a little campy sometimes. Like, it's dark, but when you think about, like, Mayan frogs, it's like, he's just he's just having fun, Like, they're just having lots of fun.
No, and I think it would make a perfect TV show.
Yeah.
Like seasons after season.
I would be very wary. Just because everything's so beautiful.
No, I know. I'm saying, like, the setup like a show,
life.
not a movie. I'd like to see it as a show.
I would want to see it produced to look like a 90s sci-fi original. Like, I want all the really terrible costumes for, like, the different things, and then, like, add some CG in. But, like, when they go into that... Because I think of... When they go to that hotel and they finally get to rest at one point, you get to see, like, the streets and the bustling businesses of that dimension, and it was so Tatooine Star Wars-esque meets, like, every commercial I saw for, like, Elseworld, Weird Show, Sci-Fi Original, Star Trek, the 18th Generation, whatever it was. Do you remember in the 90s there was so many sci-fi shows?
I know, but it just,
and everybody had the worst
your description was
prosthetics
great.
on their head.
Well, what's the name of the show that has the guy from Kangaroo Jack? And
you already lost me, so I don't know that show. And I don't know
Sliders and Black Science have a little bit of carryover where with Sliders every week they're on a new planet.
What was Kangaroo Jack?
There was a kangaroo.
His name was Jack.
Was it a movie or a show?
It was a movie. Who's the other guy in Kangaroo Jack?
Anthony Williams? Well, maybe. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about
Kangaroo Jack quality film.
Listen, you just brought up Kangaroo Jack, so that's why I'm a little confused.
Yeah, it's a kangaroo that talks wearing a hoodie.
I think he's got money.
All right,
he's got mob.
All right, remember another movie that he was in? The fat kid in Stand By Me.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He's in Stand By Me, but you went to Kangaroo Jack.
Yeah, but I think of it when he was older, he like lost all the weight and became,
a C-rated celebrity.
Yeah, became a C-rated celebrity.
C is nice.
Yeah.
That's being nice.
Yeah.
Just in case he listens.
Hey, it's passing, guys. Hey, congrats.
Have all you guys seen Stand By Me?
No.
Yeah.
No? You should see it.
I don't know.
It's a wonderful film.
Yeah. There's like a slightly less multiverse in it.
There's way less multiverse
No,
than
but
Black
it's
Science.
really good. It's very, very good. It's very well done.
Stephen King.
Will Wheaton. It's got Will Wheaton in it, man.
Will Wheaton?
It's got Seth Green.
It also has John Cusack as the dead brother. Oh, no, spoiler alert for like a 30-year-old
It's not
movie.
a spoiler, really.
No,
Oh, no, that's actually like in the background of the movie. Yeah, he doesn't like...
It's also a book, so you could read The Body by Stephen King. It's a short story. They had to change the name, too.
Maybe I'll read the book.
All right,
Too dark.
but
It's very
speaking
well done.
Rick Remender...
No, wait. I'm sorry.
It's a darker
I had to wipe away the
darker
Kangaroo
Sandlot.
Jack
It
stuff.
really is.
Yeah, no, I think we could have just like kept going. I think you wanted to not wipe away, but just like smear it all over your podcast.
I was smearing it all over you because you could have said "Stand By Me" instead of you said.
You are
Kangaroo
one
Jack.
smear.
Corey, just stop.
One smear away from
Stop smearing me, okay? I'm just
We don't want to
not
watch
a
it.
bagel. Tokyo Ghost.
I can't wait.
I'm really excited about that book.
When is
Sean
that? When is that?
Murphy.
In the fall?
Yeah,
sure.
I
Yeah.
think it's November. It's Remender, Sean Murphy. It's a dystopian future where the mob, I think, controls the government, and everything
It's like America.
is like, yeah, pretty much. Everything works on like advertisement, and everybody's in debt. But
like
if you-
America.
Yeah, and it really is just a personification of where we're gonna go, which is a great thing about Rick Remender because he also kind of writes what he feels about society and stuff in his books, and it's really clear.
Probably has college debt.
He probably does it.
That's why he's writing this.
But yeah, it's really cool. So it's about these two like bounty hunters, where if you come into debt and you don't pay it, they go to find you, and the mob boss needs them to go to old Tokyo. That's like because everything's abandoned and dead. Like people just live in certain parts of the world, and it'll be really nice.
And Sean Murphy's art is very similar to Sclera. It's just beautiful. It's scratchy. I love that look, and I know Murphy's stuff is just.
Yeah, and the last two things Murphy did, I think, were Wake and Punk Rock Jesus, and those were around the same time.
Chrononauts.
Oh yeah, and Chrononauts, which is going to be back in October, so he'll.
And the first trade is $10.
Oh, when's that?
I just ordered. I think September, October.
I
am pumped. I am pumped for that to be only $10 because the last issue was $5.
The last issue was $5 for a 5. I think it was 5.
So 4 or 5 issues. Yeah.
4 or 5 issue series. Hysterical book, really smart, funny. Probably going to be into a movie, but read the book.
I'm glad there's going to be a second trade. Because the ending of the first one, I was like, wow, there's like a lot of build-up for like...
Well, it's also Millar, and it takes him forever to put books out.
That's why the next one comes out in October. Because he had 7 months to work on it.
I'm still waiting for an end to the first Kick-Ass.
Well, he kicks butt, and then it just repeats.
Yeah.
That book took forever.
Yeah, but that first book was great, though, Kick-Ass.
It was.
The second one, not so much, but the first one was
second
good.
one was
But it took forever.
Aren't there 3?
There's 3.
There's 3 plus a Hit Girl series.
Yeah.
But the first Kick-Ass took like a year and a half to make like 6 issues,
Hit
whatever,
Girl,
8 issues, whatever it was.
He came out with Hit Girl so quickly, it's because most of that book is ads for Millar World. Like, half the pages are just ads to his thing.
He plays the
So
game.
The last 3 pages in Chrononauts was like, hey, look at all the cosplay people did of my characters. Look at my characters. It's like, oh, okay.
That's always the weirdest thing to me. Like, cosplay, totally cool. But like when people like put a lot of time and effort into a cosplay of a comic that's been out for like 4 months, that blows my mind. I'm like, wow, they're like...
Well, remember, we got to meet Jason Latour at Comic-Con, and he was blown away because Spider-Gwen had not come out by San Diego Comic-Con, and like people were already dressed up as her.
Well, first off, she's
From
got a
the
very
preview image.
easy
Yeah.
costume to pull off. Like, it's a very... not easy, but it's like...
There was one photo of it. People didn't even know what the back of it looked like yet. And they
Gwen
had full
Stacy, man.
costumes.
Yes. They didn't even know what it was about.
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy.
Like, you know, like when they don't have a cover yet in previews and they just have that like no preview, someone's gonna come just dressed up as that, like a big square with a no preview, and just be like, I'm Spider-Gwen too.
I'm the new book you haven't thought of.
That's a great idea. You guys should dress up as that.
Yeah, become a variable. That's the newest cosplay.
I'm gonna dress as a variant. Be one of the 100.
I'm gonna come in as a sketch cover. Just stick my head through an easel.
And then just do the entire Take On Me music video. It'll be perfect, you know?
So Rick, who's Rick Remender again?
He's a phenomenal writer who people seem to love
Any
for
other
all the right reasons.
good story? Oh, Bitter March. Winter
Yeah.
Soldier, Bitter March.
Oh.
I'm not a Winter Soldier fan as a character. But that story, highly recommended to everyone. It's another. I feel like I always get into these small miniseries that are impossible to find after a while.
I
And the
think
trade
they
comes
did
out
it-
for a little bit.
I think I think we have the trade. I've seen it.
Well,
It's super thin.
it's
like
very.
Yeah, it was a
issues.
miniseries.
It's only 4 issues.
Well,
Art in that incredible. It's basically just a pulp story of shield agents that need to find these 2 scientists, a husband and wife, because they have created some device that could mean a lot to winning the war.
Oh.
They go in there, and then who knows? Looks like the Winter Soldier, who's just like a legend at this point, is on the hit to take them down. But also there's other people at play, and it all takes place leaving a Hydra base and then on a train. So it's really, really good. It's awesome.
It gives a lot of cool like background to like Shield and Bucky, and I think they figured out how to what's that thing everybody tries to find out in alchemy? How to make
Gold.
Yeah, how to make gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scientists figured out that.
Like the Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and the Bitter March.
Starring Winter Soldier.
Starring.
I gotta say, that book went in a little earlier. The Winter Soldier just came with his gun. You don't read Harry Potter, but...
No,
it-
but
it
Harry
was magic
Potter,
and
you guys all
not
Harry
guns.
Potter fans, all you?
No.
No, you're not?
No.
Okay.
Dude,
You know?
does it look like
I
I've read
know
all
them
those
all.
books?
I know.
but
I don't know.
The movies are hilarious.
But
If you have a good 3.5 hours.
The book has been read by
9
like
times.
millions and millions of people. There's like many looks. It's
I don't
every...
think there are too many books.
Did you see the movies?
Yeah.
Did you like them?
I don't know. I was like 9.
Well,
Wow.
Did you like them or no?
I guess.
My favorite part is when
No, I know I had a discussion with Pat the other day about like generational things. I have no interest in Harry Potter at all, and I think if I was younger, I still don't think I would have liked it because it just I wouldn't be drawn into it. But I know I would have been a huge Pokemon fan.
At one point, I think Harry Potter kind of looks like a shark. That's not a joke.
There's dragons. Those are like sharks
With
This
wings.
isn't
for the land.
I definitely would have been a Pokemon kid though, but Harry Potter I wouldn't have been into.
Well, my sister and dad were like really into it, and so as my like young like rebelling against the
Tommy
revolting.
Sawyer's leather jacket.
When I was rebelling, I'm just like,
More revolting.
oh.
You weren't into Harry Potter?
No, like I really appreciate the universe. I think.
No, I appreciate it too.
I think the universe is really, really dense and really cool, and the fact that, I mean, when you get a universe that is that just so complex with that many side characters people care about, and then millions and millions of people like it, you gotta give some respect to that.
I give it all the respect in the world. I just don't.
And that lady's rich now.
Isn't there another movie coming out like based
Yeah.
on, like part of the universe?
Yeah, because there's a book within the story about like all the different monsters that are like it's pretty much like an encyclopedia, like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you know.
Well, didn't you see at the end of Ant-Man? They asked Harry Potter to join the Avengers. Nick Fury showed up.
Yeah, it was an after.
That's the after credit scene.
After the other two.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson showed up and he's like, Harry Potter, join the Avengers.
We need your wands.
Yeah. You and your Dumbledores, come over here with your spell bags.
No, it'd be cool because like
With your spell bags.
the plot of the movie is how the guy who wrote it, and this book was like written in the 40s. So how the guy in the 40s wrote this book that everybody uses as their like encyclopedia for monsters. So how do you write a book about monsters? You have to like go to the monsters and survive them.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Like a Van Helsing-esque.
Yeah, but instead of killing the monsters, it's
But none of the Harry Potter characters in it.
No, I mean they'll make some cameos probably. It's
Dumbledore, what are you doing here? Let's check out monsters. He's the best character.
Which one's he?
He's the old guy who died halfway through, so they had to get a new old guy.
So
Then there's Alan Rickman. He's the most important character because he just talks so hilariously.
Because he's Alan Rickman.
Also, another thing that you guys need to note while we're on a Harry Potter kick for some reason is that when Ron Weasley gets angry and they get into a fight with Harry Potter, in the scenes when they're not friends, he wears exclusively muscle shirts for the whole part. Which is weird because they have a uniform, but when he's angry, just muscle shirts. Check it out.
He's got to show off those guns.
I would bring up wizard talk. I know it's that's not the name of the one.
Wizard people, dear readers.
Yeah, this is one of he may not like Harry Potter, but one of Dave's favorite thing and
Favorite thing ever.
one of his favorite. I mean, like I think most influential thing for his comedy is
Wizard people, dear readers.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a guy who made a book on tape of the whole first Harry Potter that lines up to the movie, and he explains what's going on, but also so you can listen to it on your own, but it's way better with the movie. And he changes the entire plot to the point where Harry Potter is basically just this god on Earth that at any point can incinerate and kill everybody, but is just so depressed and humbled by the simple people and their simple joys that he doesn't. And about how Ronnie, the bear, his friend, as just an action warrior kid who will kill anyone at any second, and how Hermione is just the ugliest, most wretched, smart nerd girl, and they feel bad for her, so they keep her around. And about how his dad's secretly a Dracula, and how he doesn't want that getting out because it'll hurt his street cred. But it's the whole movie. And it's beautiful. It is so good. It is, yeah. And Rick Remender came out with a comic book with, did you guys see the word bubbles on that? Well, really well written.
we're going
I'm just
back.
trying to bring it back to Rick Remender.
No, I just asked a question about Harry Potter. That's all. No, Remender.
Well, we never talked about Original Sin.
Because you know why Original Sin I think got overlooked.
Well,
I
Original
liked Original Sin a lot.
We're talking about how he does stuff that disappears. That's something he did that stayed.
But I think it got overlooked
awesome.
because AVX was so badly, like nobody liked it. The Original Sin came right after that, right? Was that AVX?
No, Infinity came after that, which was the worst thing ever.
Okay, Infinity came out, and it was a big thing because of Thanos. And then Original Sin came out, right?
Yeah.
Original Sin,
And with the Dead Watcher and the eyeballs.
Yeah, which was awesome. As much as like a good amount of people don't enjoy it, I don't know if you guys enjoyed it. I really liked it. I thought
Original Sin
it
was
smart.
good.
he explained. You're talking about how Batman can't be 28 forever.
Yeah.
In Original Sins, like they're just like, okay, Captain America, you have the super soldier serum. You became old. And then Nick Fury's just like, they look at him like, well, Nick Fury, why didn't you become old? And he's like, well, maybe mine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Everyone, shut up.
Yeah.
And then like you figure out that he just has so many life model decoys that have been Nick Fury for so long that he doesn't trust anyone. And he's up on a moon base, and like there's this whole big cover up. And then one of the best things, even one of the tie-ins that wasn't written by him, one of my favorite characters, Dum Dum Dugan, shows up, and he's just like, tell me this isn't true. This is ridiculous. And then he like goes and he's like, when did it happen? And he's like, you died in World War II. And they go through and they find his body, and he's just been recloning him and like bringing him through, so he thinks that he's lived this whole life when he's not even real. He's just something that Nick Fury keeps along to try and keep him human, and he like pulls the plug on himself. It's incredible.
No,
How
was
awesome
great.
is that?
Yes, Nick, I see your hand is raised.
Rick Remender.
We also forgot about Rage of Ultron that he did.
Yes.
The hardcover, which is
With
like,
Mateo Scalera.
Which you lent to me, and I'll get back to you.
I totally forgot you had it.
Well, the world knows now.
The world
Now,
knows
does
that.
that focus on Hank, or does it focus on
It
Scott?
focused on Hank and Ultron's relationship
Okay.
over the last time they killed him in the books till when he comes back in that. And it's awesome, and it's dark, and it's pretty, and it's way better than the movie or any other thing I've read about Ultron. So if you like
Yeah, Ultron, I've never been a big Ultron guy.
read that. You might actually like it.
Well, yeah, but like Ultron. I mean, I always love when this was actually like the 2011 Avengers series, but they went to the future and there was a guy with his like big board out, and it was like saying all the different ways the world could end, and one of them was almost every time Ultron was the reason. And I love that on Ultron, but the best thing about Ultron is Hank Pym. Like, Hank Pym has made 2 mistakes in his life, and they're both the biggest mistakes of like anybody could make. Like, one of them was like when he hit his wife. Like, that's like terrible. Like, that was terrible. He like lost everything that he cared about because of that. And then he made Ultron, which would destroy the universe.
Well, do you know what I love too? In Secret Invasion, he was a Skrull, and then they were like, we knew it. He was acting weird. And we're like, well, what did he do? He dated a tiger girl. And you're like, I guess that's weird for him because he didn't create the apocalypse or hit her. Like,
He's totally out of character.
that's
for a guy
strange for him. It's like, yeah, he dated a tiger instead of ruining everything, which is like, I knew it was an alien.
No, it's Secret Invasion. The problem with Secret Invasion was it was right after Civil War, and there was so much build up for that. They even had TV commercials for it. And the first few issues was amazing, and then all of a sudden they just were like, oh yeah, we don't know what we're doing, and the entire story just fell apart and it flopped. But it had such momentum. I don't know if you were reading at the time.
Secret Invasion?
Yeah, when it was coming out.
We
it
were
was a big deal.
I was
When
in
that-
college, and
when that
we
ship
literally
landed-
had we had a piece of paper one night. We were drinking, and we were just sitting there like, okay, we've been reading comics this whole time. Who do you think's a Skrull? We were wrong on most of them because our stories were better than the actual story. But
No, but it had such a momentum, and especially when that ship lands and all the old heroes just kind of come out of it, and it's like, what is going on?
And Beast's like, oh my stars and garters. That was the first event I read. At the end of that event, it was the first time I quit comics.
Yeah, because that event was so bad.
But if they just put a little more time, like that's such that event always gets me angry because they're like when Iron Man finally if they just had the balls to be like Iron Man was a Skrull the entire time because they were like
sucked.
they were edging, they were like, is he a Skrull, is he not? And then at the end of the book we're like, I don't even care. You've been doing this for like 7 issues.
Well, no, the thing about that book is that everyone, I remember like going to comic shops talking to people, they're like, this is dumb, Civil War was so good, they're just going to undo it and say that Tony Stark was a Skrull. And then at the end they're like, nope, all that messed up stuff, real, which was cool. But the thing is, it didn't really have an impact because like you said, it took forever.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Too bad, because I remember we ordered so heavy on the first few issues that they sold like crazy, and by the time the event was over, we had stuck with piles and piles of books that were just...
We should just start making Secret Invasion then.
They might sell it. It's actually, it's fun to read.
It was fun to read now,
Yeah.
but when you were living it, it was like, oh, come
I'm trying
on.
to think
That's
what
the
event
thing
was
about
like that's happened.
Well, there's so many events that when they happen,
Yeah.
people just, there's such high expectations. People don't like AVX and they said nothing happens.
A lot happened.
Cyclops murders Professor Xavier. That's the
Is
biggest
that
thing.
where it happens?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that could happen in
It's-
X-Men.
The-
So then why does everybody complain?
I don't know. Everyone loves to complain.
You know why? Because you know why? It's
people-
You know what? But you know what though? The one that was supposed to come out in the '80s was literally, It's supposed to be Avengers versus X-Men. Like, it was supposed to be a big event, you know. And this was supposed to, and it didn't feel like Avengers fighting the X-Men because it was so intertwined at the time. You know, it wasn't like it was cut and dry.
But
it sucked then too.
Yeah,
just the team sucked.
Like
good books, but
here's the thing: like things happen, but like there's this one essay by Raymond Chandler, who's like a really great murder mystery writer, and he's saying people don't go to read a murder mystery because they want to find out who the murderer is. Because murders happen all the time. Like news happens, and like if you want to see what a murder is, you just watch the news. The reason you go to a murder mystery is you want to find out why, and you want to see how these characters act in these drama, and you want to start uncovering. But the why, that's the big thing. And if we go back to Remender, why do we love Remender? It's always the why. And with Original Sin, in between all these like big events of like, oh, he's up there and like he's in the moon and all this sci-fi, all dum do good. It's all these like original sins are coming up, and you're all the why of the characters, the how. And with Avengers vs. X-Men, it's like they're fighting, and the entire time you're like Batman Superman I wasn't excited about until I saw the trailer because there's no why for they would fight. It was just one of those typical, oh, why are they fighting? Because it's just a big misunderstanding. But like for Batman and Superman now, it's like no, like Superman killed his family pretty much and destroyed his business. But which one is more important? Obviously. But yeah, with event books, it's just like I always feel like it's all these cool ideas, but there's no why behind it, and that's why Identity Crisis, one of the best books because it's a small, really just character drama.
Super duper.
One of my favorite stories of all time is in it.
Yeah, and it's all the why, and it's all about the characters. And you might be like, where are the big explosions? It's like, right here. Yeah, I'm not right in the heart. Yeah, that's where they're happening. Read Identity Crisis. That's
Identity Crisis. Nick and I know is on board with me.
Yeah.
We love this.
Good. It's just good storytelling. You forget the fact that they're superheroes and remind that they're humans at the end of the day. And that's kind of what the whole thing is.
And that came out pre-Civil War, and it has the same effect as Civil War did.
So yeah, if you like Civil War, read Identity Crisis. They're very different, but they're both very good.
You know something I just realized while we're talking about AVX too, before we get far? You know what Remender did after that happened? They were like, yeah guys, we killed Professor X. And he's like, cool, I'm writing Uncanny Avengers. Can I have his brain? And they're like,
right.
oh,
Red Skull got it,
okay.
right?
Yeah. The end of the first issue is they're just like, well, Professor X's body's stolen. And Rogue's like, what? I like that guy. And then at the end, it's just his, like, Hannibal, his, like, head open, and just Red Skull holding his brain out of his, like, cut open head.
What did he end up doing?
Oh, yeah, that's what, what was the crossover that happened before Secret Wars, where there was, like, Apocalypse Red Skull? Yeah, that's what he does with it, yeah.
He becomes Onslaught, Red Onslaught.
Yeah.
It was, what the heck was it? Access.
Access
happened.
Yeah.
Which was okay. It was fun. There's a lot of these that I think if you read later are fun. Like, heavily underrated. I really like Siege. The stuff that came after Secret Wars.
Siege is super
Dark
cool.
Avengers.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Well, Dark Avengers was a very well-received book. I remember it sold really well. They, I think, ended too soon because they were relaunching everything. And to go back to Original Sin, if you remember, Silk came out of that.
Yeah.
And it was very controversial, but when Spider-Gwen popped up, everybody forgot all about Silk. Silk is supposed to be the hot thing, and Spider-Gwen just took over the world because she's the hot, like the new hot character because it's Gwen.
I kind of like Silk more than Spider-Gwen.
I know, but it's funny because it's Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, they really did come out.
It was supposed to be a one-shot.
They came out like not 2 months, but like it was
Silk
Spider-Verse was going on. Wait, wasn't Spider-Verse going on?
No, Silk came out of Original Sin.
Didn't Spider-Verse happen after original? Like very closely after?
Yeah. The first, I think it was it Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3, number 4. Yeah, it's the one with like just little Peter's face with the white, and you're like, where? That's the noise he's making in it. There's a word bubble that says what?
Spider-Gwen. The most impressive thing to me is for like how long has Spider-Man been around?
1962.
Cool. So and Gwen died like 5 years later.
No, she died like in the early 70s.
Okay, so
she was around like 10 years, I think.
Since the early 70s, Marvel's been trying to bring Gwen Stacy back.
Well, there's been clones of her and stuff.
Yeah, but they finally brought her back without ruining the character and pissing anybody off.
Yeah, they did it in a way where like people enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And oh my god, that's amazing. Like that is because like if you brought Uncle Ben back right now, everyone would start yelling unless you did it some way where everyone loved it.
Back in Spider-Verse.
They did.
Oh my God! Is everyone yelling?
No, it was great.
It was
See,
awesome.
look at that. That's
The
cool.
thing-
One
but
of
the
the
cool
best
thing
issues
about
of that.
Spider-Gwen, though, is that they didn't bring her back. It's just a different... It's still Gwen Stacy, but just from somewhere else.
Just another layer of the onion, man.
But it's cool because it's a very sensitive area, but they managed to accidentally, I think, make it out without any scars. Like, oh, this is great. Because I think it was only supposed to be a one shot, and it just took it off.
Spider-Verse let them do that. That, like, look, we always talked about it. It just breaks open the Spider-Man universe. Because Batman, there's so many other characters, and it's been around for so long that they can open up the Bat family, as they call it. But with Spider-Man, like, who have they added? Like, the extra characters are all, like, villains. There's really no team-ups. There's no other good guys that really matter that have stuck around. So, like, well, we have a bunch of different Spider-Man. Let's just go with it.
What
what happened to Alpha? Wasn't Alpha?
Oh
No,
my
he was-
god!
no.
I had a great talk with Dan Slott about Alpha when we had dinner one night. So
he's
Dan
not-
Slott made Alpha for the whole point to say, like, this is what Spider-Man would be if he was a kid nowadays. This is, like, what the updated thing was. And he's like, and I wrote him to be so unlikable. I wanted it to be like, look at this new character, he's going to be great, and then make everybody hate him. Then they told me that we needed to make a whole series of him because he's young and people will relate to him. And I was he's like, we made everybody hate him. No one's going to buy this. Nobody bought it. Which means, listen to Dan Slott. Dan Slott knows what's up.
But if you think about it, though, they've never successfully, aside from like Ben Reilly, really had anything going on with another Spider-Man. And then Superior Spider-Man came out, and
Which
people liked him more than they liked Peter.
the Scarlet Spider series with Kane was going on at the same time. Superior was going on.
Yeah, but it was never like a.
Oh no,
big,
it was never a big thing.
But
Yeah, and then
this
Superior happened.
Superior, and it only ended because the movie was coming out. Because Superior would still be going now.
Oh, it was
The
so
sales in
good.
that book were phenomenal.
Flash Venom.
I also
Yeah,
love-
Flash Venom.
Oh,
I do
Which is
think.
Remender.
yeah.
Remender.
Oh my!
I forgot
Oh
about
my!
That's my second.
Remender's
favorite.
work on Venom is amazing.
All right, wait. Let's reel it all back.
All right, so I think a really nice theme of this podcast
I can't
so
believe
far
we forgot
is,
about Venom. I can't believe
is
that.
people playing the game of the big two comics, because the big two is a really hard thing to do because, like we said, no ending. So with Venom, obviously we're gonna get to it. Really works it, but with Superior Spider-Man, we all knew from the very beginning it had to end because Peter was gonna come back. This is how comics work. But Slott worked that so well,
He did.
and it was so amazing because you knew it had an ending. It meant so much more, and what a great series!
It was awesome. It was awesome.
But Venom, go
Venom.
Nick.
No, I can't believe we forgot about Venom.
Venom's awesome.
I remember when the concept first came out. I was like, I don't know.
That was the first Marvel book I followed month to month, right after I started doing the New 52.
But I remember Venom. I remember seeing like I'm like, he looked kind of cool, but I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work. And then when I really saw the details of it, I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah. So the Remender Venom series, who I can't remember who drew it right now.
I think it was multiple. I don't think it was.
Yeah, it's right there. Is the only good Venom story to come out of like Amazing Spider-Man, other than him being a good villain in ASM. Any miniseries.
New Ways to Die.
All right, New Ways
to Die was great.
New Ways to Die and Reign.
Well, that was still Matt Gargan.
Some different people, but Tony Moore.
Which,
Yeah.
if you don't know Tony Moore, he did Walking Dead earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Walking Dead, Deadpool, Marvel now.
used to be friends with Robert Kirkman. You know,
Not
He's
anymore.
just a fun guy to follow on social media. His kid draws some funny art, and he's a cool dude.
No, but Venom was kind of lost at the time because
because he was just all those miniseries in the 90s.
He was also the
and
Scorpion.
he was
at that point,
he was
no one
played out.
cared.
He was,
Eddie Brock was a junkie to a religious fanatic to anti-Venom, which was cool.
Yeah.
They finally made Eddie Brock cool again for a little bit, but like
But Venom
he wasn't
himself.
Venom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was-
Venom
he was
again. It
just-
wouldn't matter.
Venom was kind of lost. He was kind of like a '90s joke.
And if you want some more Eddie Brock, he comes back in that series later on, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But they give the Venom symbiote to Flash Thompson, because Flash Thompson fought in the Iraq War and lost his legs.
You ain't got no legs.
You ain't got no legs. And they give him the
You got no
symbiote
legs.
suit that they can control now, in quotations. And and now he's a soldier for the government or SHIELD. I think both are
But
the
the
same
cool
thing.
thing though is he can only wear it for a short time.
Yeah, he can only wear it for a short time, and if
Because
he loses
it-
his temper, it stops being like the military, and he hulks out as like the jacked up Venom, which is super cool because he has a really hard time dealing with it. and he's still dating Betty Brant. Betty Brant. So Crime Master, that stuff happens with Crime Master. It's really good. Everybody should read it.
No, it's great, and it has a
The trades are just super expensive.
Well, it's because it's Marvel.
There's
All
so
Marvel
much in
trades are
them,
expensive.
too.
No, it's only
If
11
they-
issues each.
Well, 11 is pretty good. Usually it's like
If you think about it, it's a
$5.
$4 cover price.
Yeah.
That's true. And the first issue is like $20 now. Even the second.
I think it's
printing.
more than that now.
Really?
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
Casada cover too.
Just him.
No, but
Why
like
is the pink one? Because it's second printing, and that always angered me.
so. But Remender, like with this, we're using Venom as a military weapon. It's pretty much like biological. Like,
But I love there's a time limit. You only have a short time to use it.
oh yeah, but it's like now we're getting into like some really weird themes of just war, you know, and like instead of like leaving like the kind of the cozy like villain hero fighting, like no, now we're like we have to murder people because we're at war and these are armies, and then I mean. Once again, first couple issues, just him fighting Jack-O-Lantern. That's the main thing.
Jack-O-Lantern's the best.
And this one moment with Jack-O-Lantern's bombs and the Venom powers and Flash Thompson as this man who is obviously he's a hero. Like he has heroic qualities, but the first time you see Flash Thompson, he's the bully, and there's always going to be that anti-hero in him. There's always going to be that little bit of villain, you know.
More
And
importantly, we look at the Venom symbiote and who it's followed this entire time, and like the demons that you have, and how it's all about you, your inner demons, and it brings them out. So like Spider-Man, he had all the issues, he blames himself, he becomes like kind of a bad guy, but not really.
He does
With
a
black
dance
suit.
number.
he did a dance
Eddie
number,
Brock
cool
is just
hair.
angry that his career as a photojournalist is done, so that he becomes Venom. But Eddie Brock, there's PSD, he's the bully, there's PSD, all of the crazy stuff from his father, the storyline of his father being heavily abusive to him growing up, and he's an alcoholic.
And he's a paraplegic.
And all that's showing up. So like his alcoholism and trying to get off of that and living on his own. He goes to Philly for a little bit in there. It's him trying to get off of the bottle and the demons that creates with Venom on his shoulders too. So I mean, it builds again like.
And there's a real beautiful. I think it's one of the last pages in one of the issues where he's still friends with Pete in the universe, and he's sitting on a couch with Pete, and they're both watching TV, and the reflection from the TV is both of their, like the shadow on the wall is both of their costumes, because neither one of them know who the other is. And that's something that he deals with a long time, too, is like, if he wants to tell him, or if he knows that he's Venom. It's just a beautiful series.
I can't believe we forgot about it, because that's the first time I had heard of Remender, really, was when Venom was...
And when anybody comes in here and they say they like Venom, and they start going through, like, the 90s miniseries, I'm like, no,
like Lethal
no,
Weapon.
don't read that.
No, and it's
Venom with guns.
if reading is all about
yeah.
if reading is all about empathy and trying to like just relate to other people, people love Spider-Man, especially in comics, because like he was the nerd, he was the outcast Robert Kirkman.
Bringing it all back.
Yeah.
He was the outcast who like got the powers to help people and to kind of help himself grow. And then one of the biggest things that was stopping was Flash Thompson, and he was made into a villain in this beautiful show of empathy. We're seeing how the bully is made now. And like with the abusive father, it's at the end of reading Venom, I don't know, I think you feel like a fuller person, you know? Now your enemies as a kid are like, oh, they were people. And that's a great, like Remender, he gets high school. You read Deadly Class, you get it. So it's, I don't know. There's something really wonderful about him. That's what.
Flash Thompson is the #1 Spidey fan, and they pull that through in every single story. And if you read An Amazing Spider-Man, the story of him losing his legs, they did a whole tribute to like the soldiers and everything. And that story too, it's like, well, why'd you do it? Why'd you become this hero? And he's just like, that's what I learned, like growing up watching Spider-Man my entire life. Like I may have been a bully and everything. You realize that he's been bullied, he's been dealt with this, and he was bringing what was going on at home to school. But the one thing that he always saw was the hero, which was Spider-Man. Are we a little...
No, we're good.
So one question that I have for everybody here. We were talking about how Remender can really like create its own world and make a difference in these characters. If you had to pick one big book for him to start writing, to Remenderize.
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four?
Fantastic Four. Reboot it. I would just relabel Black Science as Fantastic Four. And I would just say, here.
I would, and I know I used this as an example earlier, I would love if he did Batman, just because it wouldn't be like anything I've ever read, which would be super fun.
Sadly, though, him going away from this, I think he's done with this stuff, unfortunately.
Oh no, which is great. I like it so much
No,
better.
I do, but me as a superhero guy, I'm happy for them, but it also
he's done
hurts.
his superhero stuff where we can read it. I just
I
think
know.
it'd be real cool if he did a character, like we said, who stayed the same, like Superman, who every day, he's 30, he's a billionaire, he always wins, you can't kill
No,
him.
I would love, though, like Marvel be like, listen, FF's done, we can't do anything with it, just do whatever you want. And
If
just
you
hand it
wrote
to him.
Turtles, that'd be cool.
Turtles would be fun.
I feel like a Remender Turtles would be super cool.
What about you, Dave? What do you think?
So my little curveball, I would either want to see him do Spawn when they did that reboot, just restart Spawn and give it to him.
That would be really nice.
Either that, or I mean, like we're talking Kirkman. I don't want to see him do Walking Dead. Just give him his own Walking Dead like miniseries, or like restart Walking Dead like a What If. That would be really cool.
Well, Vaughn is writing a Walking Dead issue now.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, it's
yeah.
like it's not an issue. It's like an online thing. I don't think it's actually a Walking Dead issue.
Oh no, but like so.
That's cool.
Well,
Bri-
They lost a bet or something?
Yeah.
Brian K. Vaughan has a website called panelsyndicate.com. I recommend it to everybody. It's pay what you want to get Private Eye, which it won the Eisner this year for best miniseries, and then Universe, which is a story by a different guy named Albert Montes, who in Spain like runs the biggest comic book there. And yeah, really incredible. So what they're doing is, because Robert Kirkman is like a head guy at Image, Brian K. Vaughan promised to produce Private Eye as a regular comic for Image and make them tons of money because it's awesome. And in exchange, Vaughan agreed to do a Walking Dead issue on panelsyndicate.com, so both get traction.
Now, is Private Eye, is that with Jock?
No, that was with Marcos Martin.
Marcus Martin.
It
that's
is
right.
amazing
I love
art.
his work on Daredevil.
And
So that's going to be a physical book now?
Which
probably?
is really funny because the entire idea of the book is that the cloud explodes and everyone's information gets out, and so now now privacy is the number one thing. Everyone wears masks or these really elaborate like masquerade costumes, and yeah, and like it was supposed to be just an online only book because there's kind of a funny irony to like an online only book when the internet is destroyed. But it's a comic now. It's a great comic. Everyone should pick it up. It's one of my favorite reads. But back to Remender, what I would want him to write. I would say Captain Marvel. I don't know.
Which Captain Marvel?
I don't.
Doesn't matter?
I mean, Captain Marvel is one of my favorite characters that like isn't really in the universe right now. So I would love whatever he wants to do, man.
I'll read anything he does, I'll be honest.
Well, you read Fear Agent.
I would've-
Fear Agent.
Oh,
Fear Agent is his first like.
Fear Agents.
Who puts it out? Dark Horse.
Yeah, Dark Horse put it out, and Image put it out for a little. It's switched because there's technically two first graphic novels. That's why it's called. The first one's called Reignition because there was already story done by, I think, Image before Dark Horse got it.
I think it's Dark
But I've
Horse.
still only read through the first trade. I haven't got to those.
That's also Tony Moore, right?
Yeah, 20
Yes,
more. Yeah, 20 more. Yeah.
But I was.
Yeah, it's very Black Science-ish. It's
Yeah.
like EC-ish, you know.
I wanted to talk to you about. You said he'll probably never go back to Marvel, and I think right now it's a really big indie boom with writers because for like many years they weren't allowed to do anything else besides write for Marvel and write for DC. So they went to indie, and a lot of people are saying that they'll never go back. But I think
The reason why I say never go back, it's one of those things where now that the creator owned, all they have to do is get a greenlit for one show, one movie, and it changes their life. You know what I mean? So, because the amount of money you get for that, I'm not saying money's going to change him. I'm just saying you don't have to work so hard anymore.
Mhm.
You know, it changes you in a good way for most people.
Creative license.
Yeah, creative
you get to
licensing,
Do
so-
what you want.
You know, unless like 10 years from now, they're like, hey, listen, here, you want to do a miniseries for us? Go right ahead. And he's like, all right, I'll do it. He's never going to come back and be a writer for Marvel anymore in that aspect.
I just think there's a cool challenge to writing at Marvel and writing DC in a very nice way that we've talked about, and I think people right now for the better are going to indie comics, but you know soon everybody who's writing comics right now is a comic reader and grew up on Marvel and grew up on DC, and for like 50 years the best things that were happening in Marvel and DC. So I can imagine all these indie writers going back not as like the Bendises of the industry who write every important book, but write the one important book. You know,
I'm just worried.
Who are the Gaiman writing Sandman or the Morrison writing Animal Man.
The thing I'm worried about with this new movement, which is great, is that it's going to become like music, where they don't release albums anymore. They just look for that one hit and they run with it. Where the music's, you know, it used to be every year you get a new album, they would tour. Now it's they just look for those one hits, and then they just sell. Like you see all these younger generation, you ask them who's your favorite artist is, they say it, and they can only name one song. They don't know the entire album like Led Zeppelin or, you know, Beastie Boys or whatever it might be. You know, so I'm a little worried as that, because once you go on your own, say you're 24 years old and you've got the #1 selling image book, you're not going to want to go back and write a Batman story. You might not need to, unless you really truly love those characters. I don't think it's going to go so much the way as music is. I hope it doesn't, but that's my fear. But it's like, I can't blame them, because I'd probably do the same thing. I don't mean it as a fear, as like it's a bad thing. I just, all the power to you. You're a creator. You own it. Go with it.
So Dave mentioned like licensing from like doing the movie and stuff. In one of the last letter pages of Black Science, bringing it all around, he was talking that him and Mateo were talking about doing like statues and merchandise. So everybody be on the lookout for a beautiful Black Science statue of that.
That's great.
We should all own.
You should.
Because I imagine it'll be just the nicest thing to put on your armoire or your coffee table.
So there's plenty of Remender stuff.
There's Black Science skateboard decks, which I have to stop myself from buying because it's so cool looking.
Listen, that onion symbol's awesome.
Yeah, I still gotta get that.
So you can make a sticker out of it, a tattoo.
Get it on my shoulder.
You can get a tattoo right on your face.
Make my face more pretty. Anything will help.
Podcast they can't see.
Google,
and it's great.
Google Rusty Onion. Well, actually, don't do that. I don't
do that. Dangerous game.
That's a whole sweet move.
Because I call Nick Rusty Bottoms. I Google Rusty Bottoms. It wasn't a good thing.
It's not pretty. It's not what I look like, folks.
So, anyways, Tom, thank you for coming by.
I was actually wondering, before we end...
It's already over, sorry.
No.
Sorry.
We're done.
You're a guest now.
One of my favorite podcasts, at the end of it, they just talk about what's making them happy this week. And I don't think they like have that trademarked or anything. I think it's a cool thing. Like, it doesn't need to be a comic. It could be just anything that you really enjoy this week that you just want to push and let people listen to or watch or read. We could not do that, and then we could just make me look like an idiot. And it's fine. It's cool.
Well,
we just talked about talked about a ton of Remender stuff we want people to read because it makes us happy.
Yeah, no, but like not that. That's what.
What are you getting at? What makes you happy, Tom?
All right, so like what's making me happy this week? Robert Kirkman was on WTF, which is Mark Maron's podcast, and he did an entire like hour-long interview where he talked about his like getting into comics, where he is now, what he's doing, and it was really cool looking at what the independent world looked like in the early 2000s, and just looking at the career of a comic writer who is completely self-made. So that's what's making me happy this week. Corey, has anything ever made you happy?
Well, aside from my wife and my kids being healthy, you being happy makes me happy, Tom. So, okay, are you happy?
No, whatever.
Then I'm happy. Okay, Nick, you happy? What makes you happy today?
You guys?
Okay, David, what makes you happy?
Life is sorrow. We're all going to die alone.
There you go.
Okay.
Again, Tom, thanks for being with us. I appreciate it.
No, whatever.
Almost went a full one with everything being okay.
Yeah, that was okay.
It's pretty good.
We love you, Tom.
I think we had fun. It was cool.
We had fun. Nick, of course, always a pleasure having you. Dave's Dave.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure having you, Dave.
The funny thing about Dave is Dave's on so many videos. And
baby.
The best part about Dave is he's on all these videos. People think he's here all the time, and he's here the least of it, all of us. But he's always like active with us. So everybody's like, "Oh yeah, why aren't you at Zapp?" Dave's like, "I'm at Zapp like 10 hours a week."
If you ever come to my other job, and they're like, "What are you doing here?"
This is where I work.
Working.
So
go away.
Next time someone does that, to be like, "Oh my God, what am I doing here?" And just run out of the store.
Don't tell them.
There's
tell
one
them.
person, they were
What
like,
am I?
"Do you work at a comic shop?" I'm like, "No, it's another guy."
What am I doing here?
That's yeah.
Just break down.
That'll be the start of next podcast. We'll talk. What are we doing here in this world?
Yeah.
For all of us at Zapp Comics, I hope you guys are all happy as Tom is, and happy to have you, Tom.
I just feel like a big old boner right now.
3. The B count is 3.
See you guys.
Goodbye.
Zapp Comics Radio.